Hey, what is going on, everyone? It is awesome to see you. Today, this is probably the most requested topic that I've gotten so far. So this is a big lesson. We are going to talk about how you can improve your speaking. This isn't going to be more vocab or speaking practice, but this is more tips that you can use when you're studying English that will help your speaking improve much faster than before. If you listen to this and if you use these tips, I truly think that your speaking will improve and you will be very, very happy with your progress. So let's get started.
Alright, so this video has been requested by a couple of people and I am excited to start. Let's go. The first tip I have is try to speak in full sentences. A lot of beginners either speak in short phrases or have to pause after every few words to think about what they'll say next. It is a really good habit to try to speak in full, unbroken sentences as much as you can. If you have to pause to think the first time you say something, that is okay. But then after you have finished saying the full sentence, try to say it again without pauses. Here's an example. Maybe the first time you say a sentence, it'll sound something like this. I finished work at 7:30 and then I went home. I finished work at 7:30 and then I went home. So that first time, it takes a while to say it because you're thinking of the words, but after you have said the full sentence, repeat it without the pauses. This will help your speaking become smoother and faster. My second tip is for when you are trying to practice speaking, avoid writing the sentences first. When you write your sentences and then speak them, you aren't really practicing speaking because you are just reading the words that you already wrote down. It is important to practice thinking of what you will say and then saying it. Then after you've said your idea, while using full sentences like I talked about in the first tip, you can write it down if you want to. But the first time you share that idea, you should really try to speak it. Okay, and my third tip is to try to break things down. Here's an example of what I mean. I want you to look at this picture and try to describe everything that you see. That's pretty hard, right? Because there are a lot of things happening in this picture. But now I want you to try this. Look at the green and white wicked sign. Now, just describe that sign. Next, look at the phantom sign that is to the right of the wicked sign. Now describe the phantom sign. And when you're finished, look at the Jersey Boys sign above the wicked sign and describe that. The point that I'm trying to make here is that something that is big, overwhelming, and difficult to say in English, it can become easier if you just go one step at a time and try to break it down into smaller parts. Here's another example. Summarize the entire Harry Potter series. That's pretty hard, right? Well, let's break it down. Let's start with the characters. Who is the main character? Harry Potter. Where does he go to school? Hogwarts. And what is Hogwarts? It's a magical school for witches and wizards. Hopefully, you can see how much easier this can make it when you're trying to explain a big, or difficult idea. So the next time that you are facing a hard speaking challenge, try to break it down into smaller parts and just go one sentence at a time. The next tip is when you are trying to improve your speaking, it is important to give as much detail as you can. This will not only make your speaking more interesting, but it will help you improve much faster. Here's an example. Maybe you're in an English class and the teacher asks you, "What did you do today?" A bad answer would be, "I went shopping," because that is really short, really easy, and doesn't challenge your speaking at all. Here's an example of a good answer. "I went shopping for some new winter clothes. I went to Zara. I buy most of my clothes there. It's one of my favorite stores because their clothes fit me well and aren't too expensive. I found a really nice black coat, but they didn't have my size." So hopefully you get the idea here. The person that challenges themselves and tries to give a full, detailed answer like this will improve much faster than someone that just gives short, single sentence answers. This is a very common tip that I tell a lot of my students in my private lessons. And some students say, "Oh, my life, it's not interesting. I'm just doing normal stuff." When you're learning and studying English, the goal isn't to be the most interesting speaker in the world and have the most amazing, cool life. The goal is just to improve your English. You know, if all you did that day was make breakfast and drive to your English lesson, that's okay. But just explain that in as much detail as you can. This will increase your vocabulary and you'll become a much more fluent speaker. However, one tip here, like I said, giving long, detailed answers for everything is great when you are studying English, but you might not want to speak like that all the time when you're using English casually with your friends. When you're just chatting with friends or coworkers in English, it's good to give some details, but don't give a 3-paragraph answer when someone asks, "How are you?" Okay, this tip is about pronunciation and intonation. When you are struggling with pronunciation, listen to how native speakers talk and then copy them. Listen to a native speaker speak a sentence, and then you speak that exact same sentence. Record yourself saying it, and then compare your recording to how the native speaker sounds. Listen for the way that the native speaker stresses the different syllables in the sentence. Listen to how their words flow together, and do your best to make your speaking as similar to theirs as you can. And my final tip for you guys is to remember that becoming a fluent English speaker takes a long time. So as a beginner, it's important to remain positive and motivated and not to get discouraged. Don't compare yourself to native English speakers. Compare yourself to yourself 1 month ago. Are you a better speaker now than you were 1 month ago? Hopefully the answer is yes, and that's the most important thing, that you're improving.
Alright, so that is all for this video. I hope these tips will help you. I hope that you feel motivated and excited to continue learning English. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I do my best to answer every single comment I get. Keep studying hard, keep practicing, keep improving, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.